Rael opened his eyes to a pale green sky. A strange fog hung above him, thick like soup. He was lying on his back, staring at soft, swirling clouds that moved slowly, as if watching him too. The air smelled cold and bitter. His body was heavy, his skin sticky with sweat. He tried to sit up, but his muscles felt weak, like they had forgotten how to move. He didn't remember how he got there. The last thing in his mind was darkness. No pain, no sound, just nothing. But now, here he was, under a sky that looked sick and alien. Rael pushed himself up, groaning. The ground beneath him wasn't ground at all. It was a soft, dark blue surface that bounced slightly under his weight. It looked like thick fabric stretched across a frame, but it was warm and pulsing, like it was alive. His heart pounded faster. Where was he? He looked around. Endless clouds, glowing faintly, covered everything. The sky had no sun, just a dim light that seemed to come from nowhere. Then he noticed something in the distance. A tower, thin and tall, piercing the clouds like a needle. Rael staggered to his feet. His legs wobbled, but he managed to stand. He looked down and realized he was wearing a dark gray suit, tight but flexible, with small blinking lights on his wrists and chest. A cracked helmet lay beside him, its visor shattered. He picked it up. His reflection stared back at him. A face pale and bruised, with a deep scar on his cheek. Then he heard it, a low hum, vibrating through the air, like a massive engine far below. The sound came and went, pulsing with the same rhythm as the ground beneath him. Whatever this place was, it was alive, and he was standing on it. Rael needed answers. He started walking toward the tower. Every step was slow, his body still weak, but he forced himself forward. As he walked, strange shapes moved inside the clouds, shadows twisting and turning. He stopped and stared, but the shapes vanished as quickly as they came. He thought he saw eyes watching him from the mist, small glowing orbs, floating then disappearing. He shook his head. Maybe it was his mind playing tricks. After what felt like hours, he reached the base of the tower. It was made of smooth black metal, cold to the touch, and hummed with energy. There was a door, round and silver, but no handle, no buttons. He placed his hand on it. A blue light scanned his palm, then the door opened with a soft hiss. Rael stepped inside. The air was warmer. The walls glowed faintly. He walked down a narrow corridor, his footsteps echoing. The hum was louder here, like the heart of a giant machine. Then a voice echoed through the corridor. A woman's voice, calm but mechanical. "Welcome back, Rael." He froze. "Who's there?" The voice continued. "You are aboard the Observer. Memory recovery is in progress. Please proceed to the core chamber, Observer." Memory recovery? None of it made sense. But the voice sounded familiar, like he had heard it before. He followed the corridor. It curved gently, leading deeper into the tower. He passed rooms with transparent walls. Inside, machines floated in the air, spinning slowly, scanning strange objects. He saw plants growing in glass tubes, blue leaves, glowing stems. In another room, there were maps of planets and stars, blinking with data he couldn't understand. Then he reached the core chamber. The door opened on its own. Inside was a wide, circular room with a tall glass cylinder in the center. Inside the cylinder was a floating sphere, dark and smooth, like a black pearl. Wires connected it to the walls. Lights blinked all around. Then the voice spoke again, clearer this time. "Rael, you were sent to observe Uranus, but something went wrong." He stared at the sphere. "What went wrong?" "Why can't I remember?" "The Observer was attacked. An unknown entity infiltrated the station. You were injured. The system initiated emergency recovery." Rael's hands trembled, attacked by what the sphere flickered with light unknown. The entity is still present. Outside, Rael's mind raced. The shapes in the clouds, the eyes watching, they were real. Something was out there, and it had attacked them. He asked, "What is this place? Why was I sent here?" The voice answered, "You are part of the DMU Deep Monitoring Unit. Your mission was to study the hidden layers beneath Uranus's atmosphere. We detected life signals." Something ancient. Rael stepped closer to the sphere. "I don't remember any of this. Memory recovery is incomplete, but I can help." Rael reached out. and touched the glass cylinder. Suddenly, images flashed in his mind. A ship flying through the gas clouds of Uranus. A storm, violent and dark. A shadow moving in the storm, larger than any creature he had ever seen. Then, pain. Screams. Silence. He stumbled back, gasping. There was something in the storm. The voice replied, "Yes, it is still watching us." Then the walls trembled. A deep roar echoed through the chamber. The lights flickered. The observers shook, as if something massive had grabbed it from outside. Rael's heart raced. "What is that?" The voice was no longer calm. "The entity is here." He heard pounding, like fists against the walls. The sound came closer, shaking the tower. The lights dimmed. Rael looked around, searching for a weapon, anything to defend himself. Then the voice said, "There is a way to escape, but you must reach the command deck." "Where is it?" Rael asked. "Above. Take the lift. But hurry." Another roar shook the chamber. The pounding was getting closer. Rael ran back into the corridor. The lift was nearby, a circular platform with a glowing ring around it. He stepped on, and the platform began to rise, moving silently up a glass tube. As he ascended, he saw through the glass. The clouds outside swirled violently. And then he saw it. A shadow, larger than the tower itself, moved through the mist. It had glowing eyes, hundreds of them, staring right at him. His breath caught in his throat. The lift kept rising, but the creature was following, moving up the tower from the outside, its giant limbs pressing against the walls. Then the voice whispered in his ear, "Softer now, Rael. It remembers you." Rael shivered. His mind burned with flashes of memory he didn't understand. A connection. A bond. What had he done? Before he could think more, the lift reached the top. The command deck. But it was dark. Broken screens, shattered glass, wires hanging from the ceiling. Something bad had happened here. He stepped forward, heart pounding, as the tower shook again. Then a figure stepped out from the shadows. Another human, or at least it looked human. But its eyes glowed just like the creatures outside. Rael froze. The figure smiled and said, "Welcome back, Rael." "I've been waiting for you," Rael didn't understand, but something told him. This was just the beginning. Rael stood still, staring at the man with glowing eyes. His heart thumped so loud he could hear it in his ears. The man stepped closer, his smile cold and sharp. "I was hoping you'd wake up soon," the man said, his voice smooth but empty, like a shadow pretending to speak. "Who are you?" Rael asked, his throat dry. The man tilted his head. "You don't remember? We met before." Deep under the clouds, Rael shook his head. "I don't remember anything." The tower shook again. Another roar came from the outside, so deep it made the glass walls hum. Rael looked out and saw the shadow creature circling the tower. Its many eyes burned through the mist, always watching. "What is that thing?" Rael whispered. The man chuckled. "That thing is why you're here, and why you're still alive." Rael tried to stay calm. "Tell me who you are." The man sighed. "I was the commander of the Observer. My name was Solon, but I'm not him anymore." "What does that mean?" Rael asked. Solon's eyes glowed brighter. "When we arrived here, we found something sleeping in the deep storms of Uranus. An ancient mind, older than any life we've known. It spoke to me. It entered my thoughts." Rael's stomach turned. "That thing, it controls you." Solon smiled wider. "Not controls. We're connected. It showed me the truth. We are nothing but small sparks in the cold dark. But here we can be more." Rael stepped back. His mind was racing. "What did it do to me?" Solon's eyes narrowed. "You were the only one who resisted. It tried to connect with you, but your mind fought back. The others, they became part of it. Like me, Rael's skin crawled." "Then why am I still alive?" Solon looked almost sad. "Because it needs you. You have something in your mind. A memory. A code. You locked it away, but it's still there. Without it, the Observer can't leave this planet." Rael was confused. "Leave? Why would it want to leave?" "Because it's trapped here," Solon said, "and it wants to spread." To reach other worlds, Rael felt dizzy. A storm of images flashed in his head again. Codes, machines, screams, shadows. Suddenly, the voice from before echoed in the room. Rael, do not trust him. Solon laughed. Ah, the observer's AI. Still clinging to old protocols, Rael whispered. You're the one who attacked the station. Solon nodded. Yes, but not alone. The entity helped. And now, you're the last piece. The tower shook violently. A loud cracking sound echoed below. The creature was climbing the tower, closer now. The AI voice said, Rael, you must activate the emergency drive. It's the only way to escape. Rael looked around. The command deck was a mess. Broken screens, dark consoles, shattered glass. But in the center was a large console, still glowing faintly. Solon saw where he was looking. His smile faded. Don't. If you activate it, this whole station will fall into the lower storms. You'll die, Rael. The entity will die. But you won't escape. Rael's mind was spinning. He didn't know what to believe, but deep inside, something told him he couldn't let that thing leave this planet. He took a step toward the console. Solon's eyes flared. I won't let you, Solon hissed. Suddenly, Solon moved. Fast, faster than any human. He rushed at Rael, his hands like claws. Rael barely dodged, falling to the side. Solon struck the metal floor, leaving a dent. Rael scrambled up and ran to the console. Solon chased him, growling like an animal. Rael grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and swung it, hitting Solon's side. Solon barely flinched, grabbing Rael and throwing him across the room. Pain shot through Rael's back. He gasped, struggling to stand. Rael, input the code. I shouted. You remember it. Trust your mind. Rael's vision blurred, but deep inside, a sequence of numbers floated up in his memory. He didn't know why, but he knew they were important. Solon charged again. Rael, dizzy and bleeding, crawled to the console. His fingers trembled as he pressed the keys. Stop! Solon screamed, but it was too late. Rael slammed the last key. The console lit up bright blue. A deep hum filled the room. Then a voice spoke from the walls. Emergency core collapse initiated. Station will descend in 60 seconds. Solon roared with rage. His face twisted, his eyes burning. You fool! You'll kill us all! Rael stood, breathing hard, better than letting that thing escape. The tower shook violently. The creature outside screamed, a sound so loud it cracked the glass. Solon staggered, then smiled again. You think this will stop it? It's already inside you, Rael. That connection. It's still there. Rael's head burned with pain. A shadow inside his mind, whispering. Something alive. But he pushed it back. I'll die before I let it win. Solon's body started to change. His skin darkened, his bones stretching. His mouth split wider, showing sharp teeth. He was becoming something else. Something not human. Rael looked for a weapon. The metal pipe was too far. But then he saw a flare gun, half buried under debris. He grabbed it. Solon charged, monstrous now, his body twisting. Rael fired. The flare shot into Solon's chest, burning bright. Solon screamed, his body catching fire, stumbling backward. He crashed into the glass wall, which shattered. The wind outside roared in. The creature's eyes blinked close, staring at the chaos inside. Rael ran to the console again. The countdown was at 10 seconds. The AI voice whispered, Rael, there's an escape pod. But you must hurry. Rael's legs barely moved, but he pushed himself to run. He found the hatch. A small pod, barely big enough for one person. The tower shook, metal groaning. Solon was still burning, crawling, his eyes still glowing. Rael, he whispered, you'll never escape it. Rael climbed into the pod and slammed the door shut. 5 seconds left. He hit the launch button. The pod ejected, shooting out from the tower into the thick clouds. The observer station began to collapse. breaking apart, falling into the deep storms below. Rael watched from the tiny window. The creature outside screamed again, furious as the tower fell with it into the abyss. Silence. Rio floated alone, the clouds swallowing the remains of the tower. His body ached. His mind was burning with that shadow still whispering faintly. But he was alive. Or, at least, for now. Then the AI voice returned, weak but clear in the pod speaker. Rael, you survived. But this is not over. Quote, Rael closed his eyes, the sound of his own heartbeat filling his ears. Somewhere deep in the planet's clouds, the creature was still there. Maybe dying, maybe waiting. And in Rael's mind, a piece of it remained. The pod drifted silently through the thick clouds of Uranus. The pale green mist outside pressed against the small window, hiding everything. Rael sat inside, knees pressed to his chest, shivering. The cold was creeping in, and the air felt thin. But the worst part wasn't outside. It was inside his head. The whispers. At first, they were soft, like wind moving through trees. Then they grew louder, clearer. A voice, not Solon's, not the AI's. Something deeper. You cannot escape me. Rael pressed his hands to his ears. But the voice was inside his mind, not his ears. You touched me. You saw me. Now we are bound. No, Rael whispered. You're dead. You fell with the tower. I am not a body. I am the storm. I live in the clouds. In the shadows of thought, Rael slammed his head back against the wall of the pod. He wanted it to stop. He needed it to stop. Then the AI's voice crackled through the pod speaker. Rael, stay awake. Your vitals are unstable. Rael grabbed a small communicator. How are you still here? A backup of my system was transferred to the pod. I can help stabilize you. Rael's breath was shaky. It's in my mind. It's talking to me. The AI paused. Then, I know. When the entity tried to merge with you, your brain resisted. But fragments remain. Rael's eyes burned with exhaustion. Can you remove it? No, but we can keep it weak. You must reach the outer atmosphere where the signals are strong enough for extraction. Extraction? Rael asked. DMU sent a recovery team. If we reach high enough, they can find your beacon. Rael closed his eyes, trying to calm his breath. But then the voice returned, sharper this time. They won't save you. I am inside them too. Rael's eyes snapped open. What does that mean? The AI responded. Ignore it, it is lying. But Rael wasn't sure. The shadow in his mind felt too real, too knowing. Then a loud bang echoed through the pod. Something hit the outer shell. The pod shook, swaying. Rael's heart stopped. What was that? Something is outside, the AI said. I am scanning. The pod's window showed only swirling clouds. Then another bang. Then a shadow, fast and large, moved past. Rael's skin crawled. It's alive. Something survived the fall. Correct. The entity has many forms. It sent part of itself to retrieve you. No, Rael muttered. He gripped the seat, trying to stay steady. Boost the engines. We have to get higher. Engines damaged during ejection. I can repair, but it will take time. Another bang. The shadow was circling the pod, faster now. The AI's voice became tense. If it breaches the pod, you will be consumed. What can I do? Rael asked. There is an emergency suit beneath your seat. If the pod is breached, you can eject in the suit. But it will not protect you from the entity. Rael grabbed the suit and stared at it. It was thin, barely more than a second skin with a clear face shield. It wouldn't last long. Then the shadow hit again. Harder. A loud crack split the side of the pod. Cold air rushed in. A deep growl echoed, not just outside, but inside Rael's mind too. You cannot run, the voice whispered. You are part of me. Rael's breathing grew shallow. He struggled to think. Then he remembered. The flare gun. He still had it, though only one flare remained. A weak weapon, but better than nothing, Rael, the AI said. You must buy me 60 seconds to repair thrust. Hold on. Quote, The pod cracked again. A long, dark limb pushed through the wall, black and slimy, pulsing with blue light. It twisted toward Rael like a snake. His hand shook, but he raised the flare gun and fired. The flare burst bright red, burning the limb. The creature outside screamed, a horrible, hollow sound. The limb jerked back, smoke rising from it. But the wall was open now. The cold wind blasted in, and Rael could barely hold on 45 seconds, the AI said. Stay alive. Rael pulled the emergency suit on, sealing it tight. The air inside was warmer, but thin. The shadow outside roared again, angry. Then it spoke in his mind. You are mine, Rael. Even if you run, I will find you, Rael screamed back. Then come get me. The creature didn't wait. A massive eye appeared at the hole in the pod, unblinking, glowing blue. The sight froze Rael in place. Then the AI said, engines repaired. Activating full thrust. The pod jolted upward, fast. The force pressed Rael down hard. The shadow tried to hold on, but the sudden speed tore its grip away. Rael watched as the eye vanished into the clouds below. He lay still, breathing fast, body aching. We are climbing past the upper cloud layer, the AI said. Prepare for signal lock, Rael smiled weakly. We made it. Not yet. The entity's presence is weakening, but fragments remain in your mind. Rael closed his eyes. The whispers faded, but didn't disappear completely. You're strong, Rael, the AI said softly. Not many could fight it, but you'll need help. What do you mean, Rael asked. If the DMU rescues you, they may try to extract the entity from your mind. But there's risk. What kind of risk? If they fail, it may escape into them. Rael's stomach turned cold. What if that was its plan all along, he whispered. I didn't answer. Then a soft beep echoed signal locked. Rescue ship inbound Rael looked out the window. For the first time, he saw stars. The clouds of Uranus parted below. Above was open space, dark and wide. In the distance, lights approached. A ship. Rescue. But in his mind, the shadow still whispered, We are not done, Rael. Not yet. Rael knew it was right. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Rael stared out the small window as the rescue ship drew closer. Its lights cut through the darkness of space, steady and strong. The pod's beacon was flashing, calling them in. His heart should have felt relief. But all he felt was fear, because the shadow was still inside him. They will come, the voice whispered, and I will go with them. No, Rael said aloud, his voice weak but firm. I won't let that happen. The AI's voice crackled softly in his ear. Rael, stay calm. The rescue team is about to dock. I don't want to risk it, Rael said. If they take me back, it could spread. I can feel it. The AI hesitated. Then, there is an option, but it's dangerous. Rael sat up, barely able to move. Tell me. The pod has a manual override. You can eject yourself into space. The cold and vacuum might weaken the entity's connection. If the rescue ship catches you in time, you'll survive. If not, Rael understood. He would die. Alone in the cold, dark, I will guide them to you, the AI said gently. But the choice is yours. Rael thought of the others. The crew he didn't remember, the voices he heard and the flashes of his broken memory. They were all gone, because of the thing inside him. He couldn't let it spread. The rescue ship hailed the pod. A human voice crackled through the speaker. Survivor Rael. This is DMU recovery. We are docking now. Stand by. Rael swallowed hard. I'm sorry, he whispered. He pulled the emergency lever beside the hatch. Manual eject initiated, the AI said softly. The pod door burst open, sucking the air out. Rael was pulled into the void, floating into space. The cold hit him like knives even through the suit. The stars surrounded him. Below was the pale giant of Uranus, its clouds swirling forever. His breath was shallow. The suit gave him a few minutes of oxygen, but not much more. The shadow screamed in his mind. Fool, you can't escape me. Rael gritted his teeth. You're just a shadow. And shadows die in the light. His mind burned, his body froze, but he stayed conscious. He watched the rescue ship grow closer, its engines glowing. A small craft shot from it, racing toward him. The AI's voice was faint but present. They're coming, Rael. Stay awake. He wanted to. But his eyes were heavy, his mind slipping. Then, something changed. The shadow's whispers grew weaker, fading like smoke in the wind. The cold of space was breaking its hold. "No," the shadow gasped. "I am eternal." Then silence. Rael drifted, his vision dimming. The stars blurred. Then light. Bright, white light. Hands grabbed him. Voices called out. "We have him! Bring him in now!" Rael felt warmth returning. He was pulled into the rescue craft. His helmet was removed. Air rushed in. Sweet, clean air. Faces hovered over him. A woman's voice said, "Stay with me. You're safe now." Rael's vision cleared just a little. He saw her. Dark eyes. Focused. Kind. "Is it gone?" he whispered. She hesitated, then nodded. "We scanned you. There's no trace of infection. You're clear." But Rael wasn't sure. Deep inside, he felt emptiness. Like a door had been closed, but not locked. The rescue craft docked with the main ship. Rael was taken to a medical bay. As they worked on him, the AI's voice returned in his mind, soft, like a dream. "You fought well, Rael. But remember, some doors never stay shut forever." Rael closed his eyes. He was alive. But the shadow of Uranus might still be waiting, somewhere, deep in the clouds, watching.